Hi, everyone. Oh my gosh, welcome. It is absolutely wonderful to see you all here today. We hope that your week is off to a safe and healthy start. And thank you for taking the time to hang out with us today. I'm Diana. I am the social media and community manager for the SEO division here at Semrush. And these personal SEO consultation webinars have been really exciting and productive as we learn from fellow marketers, just like us. It's like such a great way to talk about SEO, learning from real situations with real questions. And it really does help eliminate that I'm not the only one like struggling in this arena or something. So these have been really, really cool webinars. Today's edition has a much more technical side to it because our special guest here in the webinar room with me is a technical SEO superstar with Right. He's also the founder and CEO of Onely. He's a prominent guest lecturer, and he is live with us today. So please welcome Bartosz. How are you?
Thanks so much for such a nice intro, Diana. Welcome everyone. I'm very excited to dive into all the technical geekiness today.
Well, one thing I was, as you said earlier, stalking you. I was stalking you before this, and I was checking out some of the latest videos on your LinkedIn profile, and one of them was a webinar back in February about Core Web Vitals, and so that came up a lot in our last SEO, personal SEO consultation webinar too. So I was curious, as we approach the May kind of timeline with Core Web Vitals, are you and your team having more and more conversations around it?
How do I? So basically, after the craziness from last year when it was a roller coaster for a lot of businesses, now I think for the past 6 months we're really sold out for a few months in advance. So I think we're trying to get that conversation about Core Vitals and web performance going for a few years. And now that Google created the deadline, there are like tens of huge brands trying to, still make it before May. But still, I don't want to make it any less prominent. I don't think it's going to be that big of a change. I don't think that Google is going to, throw all of the websites that are a little bit slower or having problems with cumulative layout shifts and things like that to hell. But I'm still very, very curious how it's gonna look like. I'm not as worried as some of the SEOs that, if I don't meet those criteria, I will lose, 60% of the traffic.
Well, same. And I think that the advance notice was helpful, especially because they kind of came up with like their own terms and like language around a lot of this too. So we not only have to work that into like our SEO workflow and optimization strategies now, but we had to learn like new terminology and like what it meant as far as user experience. So I am grateful also that Google gave us a little bit of a time to learn and not just throw it out there and like you're expected to know what all of these things are and they've invented new words and stuff. So, all right, very cool. So we also love to have an SEO superstar in our live chat, answering any questions you might have while Bartosz is speaking and working with the marketers. So today we are joined by superstar freelance musician, but he's also the marketing manager at Onely. Everyone say hi to Zemek in the chat. Hi, Zemek. So joining us here in the webinar room are four very talented digital marketers ready to ask some of their tough technical SEO questions. I can't wait to learn alongside all of you today. So let's do some quick introductions of our marketers. So Jamin, why don't you start? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. My name is Jamin Heller. I represent TrafficSafetyWarehouse.com based in Chicago. We're a leading U.S. distributor of traffic and facility safety products. So traffic cones, traffic barricades, and signs, things like that. We're primarily B2B, selling primarily to construction companies and municipalities and organizations of all shapes and sizes.
Very cool. I have a little bit of a background working with construction companies too, so very interesting. Okay, Thomas and Alicia. I keep trying to combine your name into one. Thomas and Alicia, why don't you go ahead?
You can just pick one.
So greetings from Cyprus. Black Beetle Design is the child of Alicia. It's her own business in interior design. It's a brand new business and a brand new website. I helped Alicia just with the technical stuff, setting up the website and everything, but the whole creation, design and everything, it's her own thing. And it's only 6-7 months, and that's why we're here today. We're trying to find the best support from the best in Semrush and get all the advice and help we can get with improving the organic traffic on our website.
Yep.
Well, perfect timing. Brand new website that's like, it's starting with a clean slate. So this is really, really great timing. That'll be interesting to deep dive when we get to it. Okay, and Ross, go ahead. How are you?
Yeah, so my name is Ross Griffin. I'm from South Africa. And the company I work for is here in South Africa. It's called Live Copper. And it's funny. I think we all got a lot in common because I work for an e-commerce company that services interior designers and architects as well as people in construction. So our website sells primarily lighting, plumbing, and electrical fixtures to architects, interior designers, electricians, and plumbers. That's our core business. The website started off with quite a lot of focus on B2C. We realized that consumers don't really buy those things regularly, so we've slowly shifted over the past 7 years to a more B2B model.
Very cool. Yeah, we do. We all have kind of these really nice specialty niches. This is really neat. Thank you, Ross. Okay, and then we have the lovely Iriana. I'm sorry, I said that wrong, and I even practiced. Arena, there we go. And I think you're muted, dear.
Hear me?
There you are.
Oh, yes. Okay, I had a sign that a microphone was muted. So my name is Irina. I work for Dove Group of Companies. Our headquarters in Cork. So it's pretty hot here. And we have a number of corporate websites. In particular, today, I have a few questions about our dovemining.com. This is the website of our company, Dove Equipment and Machinery, which is a manufacturer of gold and diamond mining equipment. It's pretty niche market. And organic traffic is not the only source of our clients. But still, it's getting important because ranking was not that good, so we want to improve, and we have some curiosity about the process. So I hope today I will get some good tips.
I don't think that'll be a problem.
I'll do my best, Irina.
Thank you.
Very, very cool. So, all right, we're going to jump right in. So each marketer will have about 10 minutes to chat. And I love these conversations, but I will interrupt if we need to. So please don't think me rude. I'm just trying to keep us on track. Keep an eye on me too, because I'll give you a little peace sign when we've got 2 minutes to go, just to kind of keep everyone rocking and rolling. But again, I will cut you off in the nicest way possible if I have to. All right, so let's get right into it. So Jamin, why don't you start us off?
Thank you. So we have a blog, but we're questioning if it actually helps our SEO much since it's on a subdomain. And we use a subdomain because our e-commerce platform doesn't have a blog publishing tool. So we only use WordPress just for the blog. Would it be better to move that content onto a resource center, more focused on static evergreen content of less timely nature on our main domain, rather than invest in content for a blog on a subdomain, or maybe move the blog to a subdirectory? What should we do next?
So thank you for that question. And, this is a very intense conversation in the SEO community for the past few years. I think the CTRs and blog on a subdomain or a main domain are two main topics that are somehow difficult in the industry. But long story short, I'm all for the subfolder. I'm in the subfolder team because basically for a website like yours, and I'm gonna try to share my screen to show you a few challenges, few solutions I think would be good. I just want to make sure I do it right. Okay, you should see my screen. So basically, this is you probably know that, but this is your website. And going through some of my notes. Basically, when going into your blog, there are a few issues I would address when moving that to a subfolder. I'm guessing you can do that through reverse proxy. There are probably quite a lot of different solutions for that. But I actually looked into some of your articles, like this one, and you have quite a lot of articles that are somehow creative and nice. I think you actually made quite an effort to make used or any traffic counts quite interesting. But what I would do is, this is quite difficult to read, so I would look into that a little bit. But when going to your main website, this blog and your store seem to be completely different entities. It's very difficult to go between these two. So I would make sure that the navigation is somehow unified. So when going to your website, I would have some kind of link to the blog, and then make sure that the blog is supporting the commercial side of things. But I'll try to move my notes somewhere. But there also would be one more thing I would address with the blog. So I would address something. I'm gonna quickly copy paste. I hope this is gonna work. This is always a beauty of doing things live. But one thing with the blog, and again, the content is nice. I would work on readability, but there is one thing that seems to be a problem. So these are all. This is a video. Sorry, it's not really. I would have to zoom it in. Basically, it shows thousands and thousands of redirects from the blog to the main websites, and the cost for that is those links are HTTP. So let me try to show you an example. So basically, I would move this blog, but fix it a little bit with. I didn't think it through with the size of my screen versus the readability. But if we look at the links internally, and we can actually have an example here. If we look at this, I would make sure that all these internal links, because you seem to have it done pretty well when the blog articles are somehow pushing your commercial queries, but all of these go through a chain or single redirect or a chain of redirects. So if you can see, these go to HTTP and they go then to HTTPS. So that's one thing to address. To address the blog the blog question. And now I lost my notes again.
Would it make sense to just move all the content onto the main site proper and not have a subdomain or a subdirectory? Call it a resource center and keep it all on one main site?
So that's something to look into as well. But I'm always a huge fan of having a clear blog. So here you have some resources, and for your niche, I would assume that resources would be actually what you have here. So all of these, I'm guessing documentation, things like that, and have a blog where you compare like used counts to brand new counts as a separate URL, separate folder within the domain. I have a few more notes. I just lost my tab in Chrome completely. But one more thing I would also look into is the length of some of the articles, some of the content, some of the readability. I got it. Sorry, and have a little bit more additions. But yeah, sorry. You can go through your questions.
Okay.
I found my notes now, so I'm back home. Sorry for that.
All right. So we have subcategories that contain multiple pages of very similar products. Maybe they have only a size variable or a color variable difference, but they're for a unique purpose usage. So, and the URL does change slightly, but these pages are very highly similar. Are they going to be viewed as duplicate content? And if so, how does that affect our SEO to have these similar product pages?
So I wanted to understand that question a little bit better. So do you mean that you have like paginated category?
No,
and you
we
go
might
to-
have we might have set up a product. Let's say it's a stop sign with LED lights around it, and we might have set up another one that's identical in appearance. The only difference is one is solar powered, and one is battery powered for different usages, different purposes, and they've been set up as two separate products. But the content on the page is the same except for that piece. Or it might be that we've set up a sign that has a 24-inch base for certain usages and another one that has a 36-inch base, and we've set those up as two separate products. And we're trying to decide if that makes sense or not. And I'm wondering if there is an SEO reason that we should not do that, for the potential that there's going to be fairly duplicative products next to one another.
Okay, now I get it a little bit more. So looking at this question, basically I would understand the intent first. So if we have, and the example of the stop sign is just something I like quite a bit, because I think that people can search for a solar powered stop sign. So having two separate URLs, and if there is no search volume for that, I'm sorry, but I would assume that people would see that as a separate product. But if only the base is different, I would make it one URL and make somehow make it an option to choose a form of that stop sign. So then you have just one URL and you have an option of choose, okay, what kind of stand would you like with that stop sign? And if you have two different pages, so you have solar powered and regular stop sign, I would keep them separate, and I would assume that the description would have to change a bit, because you need to mention the solar power, some kind of power, or how they operate and things like that. But in general, even if you have products that are somehow duplicate, there's also an option to look into that, because I wasn't sure what the question is about. You have an option in Search Console. Too many notes. You have an option in Search Console to see if Google is seeing that as duplicate content. So I would just look into those URLs in Search Console and see if this is creating a problem. I have one more thing I noted for your website, because I know that you, and I'm gonna try to go through that really quick so Diana is not showing us those 2 minutes again. 1 minute. So I'll be as quick as possible. This is gonna be as quick as it gets. So I'm sharing my screen really quickly now. One thing I would add, one thing I would do, because I saw your question about the search Spring engine. So what I would focus on for your website is have some kind of faceted navigation on the side. So if we have all these options here, so I'm gonna show you why. You have 28-inch cones, and if I want to change that, if I'm trying to somehow either narrow it down or change, I need to go back. I'm not really sure where I am because there are no breadcrumbs. So I would make sure that the navigation on the site or anything like that works properly. And using search for that works. I just feel this is not amazing for me, because if I want to change that filter, if I go to something else, I need to go back. I'm not really know where I am. This is also going to be a little bit confusing for search engines, because they don't really know where this lives in your structure. So there would be multiple different problems because of that. And if you could somehow use facet navigation to narrow down the results, that would be amazing for both SEO and users, I would assume. And
but how,
Diana, sorry.
Can you just explain briefly, how does faceted navigation help with SEO? So
you would have you would have a clear structure. So you go traffic safety warehouse, let's say traffic cones, and then you would have 24-inch traffic cones, and it's very clear for search engines that this lives under traffic cones. There is a structure. There is, right now it's somehow flat, and it might be a little bit chaotic. So you would have breadcrumbs, you would have all of that, somehow organized. So my my love for organization within e-commerce would be met with that.
Thank you.
Very
this
cool
was
question.
as quick as I could.
That was great. No, you guys are great. And I actually had a quick question for you, Jamin, because do you have the ability to add reviews like to the products? Because in a lot of times in e-commerce, that's a nice way to kind of have user-generated unique content on similar products, but coming from the customers. So that can sometimes help too from an SEO perspective. Do you have that option?
We have that option. We have it on the site. We've actually been talking about disengaging it. I think it's hard in B2B e-commerce to get enough reviews to be useful. We have a lot of store reviews and we focus on that, but the product reviews, I feel if we don't have enough volume, I'd rather not have it.
So as opposed to having like one 5-star review,
from 2012 or one 2-star review, right?
Yeah.
And they also, to really have a good reviews program, you got to reach out and engage people and ask for them. And, for a small company, that's a lot of resources.
It can, but as part of like an SEO workflow that like, working it into your kind of campaign structure and as part of the strategy, maybe it's a strategy for a quarter, for just 3 months, and you guys are proactive about asking for reviews. But again, it is an odd product to review as well. So who knows? But like something like the solar-powered stop signs, that could be interesting to hear how people use them, like school systems versus municipalities or something like that. So anyway, just a thought as I was listening in.
Thank you.
Okay. So as Thomas and Alicia mentioned at the beginning of the webinar, they have a brand new website. So Bartosz has already had his eyes on it. So we are going to head over to Bartosz and see what he's found.
Perfect.
Okay. So how are we going to do that? Are we going to start from the question or should I begin?
I would help maybe if I'll give you also a hint. Like we were trying to rank for the keyword interior designer site. Okay, I mean you can see that it's everywhere. We use it a lot. We try to focus on this as our main ranking keyword for the homepage. I mean, and after this 5 or 6 months that the website is live, we are still stuck on the 7th page of the Google results. Just to give you a hint of what is the situation, it doesn't move, it doesn't change, so we're quite baffled. Why is this happening? And if you, for example, could check the top 10 results and make an analysis, it's really strange for me because these websites, they don't have any big number of links, they don't have any special content. So is there something that we're missing? I mean,
or is it just because the site is relatively new and it needs time naturally to
grow and to mature? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So being completely frank with you, yours was one of the most interesting one from the strategy point of view. When the traffic counts just a minute ago were quite interesting with the structure because those are the things we love. This was quite interesting. So I'm gonna try to go quickly because I have quite a lot of information here to unpack. So first of all, you mentioned that you're doing interior design, which is not really what I'm seeing on the website because you're saying that you're B2B. So you're not really doing the interior design that I would look for when I'm looking for interior designer. You're doing a B2B interior design, right?
Yes, actually the idea I started from was to provide my services in the interior design and in the furniture design, but in the B2B level and not so much in the B2C level. That is correct. And
sorry. Continue.
Yeah, go ahead.
So now, looking at that, where is your landing page for this service that you're offering? And this is the question to Thomas, because I'm seeing that he's he's behind that.
So first of all, as I said, the main keyword that we're trying to rank for is the homepage, and not the service, because we are focusing now on the services. So we're not trying to rank for the services at the moment. This is not our first priority. The first priority is to catch more generic keywords as the interior designer Cyprus keywords. It's a long tail keyword, obviously. And it's one of that could have a significant volume of searches. The rest of the website, which is the subcategories that you can find, is portfolio and services. And then the blog, which was added like 1 month ago, and I wouldn't expect to grow so fast because it's a very new section for the whole website.
Okay, so going step by step. So first of all, I'm not a huge fan of ranking with your homepage for anything.
Okay.
This is not like, if you look at that, I always like the comparison. That's not perfect, but that's the best I have. Is that if you think of your homepage as a lobby in a skyscraper, you need to be able to go everywhere you like from that place, but it's not really designed to have any other function than just pushing the traffic through. So all the branded traffic, if someone is looking for Alicia, if someone is looking for her, this is either about me or homepage. That's amazing. But then I'm really confused in what this website is about, and I think we could make it a little bit more narrow. So you write on the homepage that it's B2B, that you specialize in hospitality, commercial, and so on. And you have quite a lot of cool landing pages within your portfolio. But when I try to find anything like that, so when I I have an example. So for example, and okay, let me unpack it slower. So going after your dream keyword straight away is not really something that's gonna make you succeed. So if you're going after interior design in Cyprus, you're gonna compete with all of the interior designers. You need to find either a small niche or something that's gonna give you those 5 visits per month. But you need to own those. You need to either specialize or own a little bit of the traffic first. So looking at one of the potential options for you, and I've prepared a search query, is, for example, hotel interior design. Oh, I forgot the space. So you have something that would be quite interesting to build content around that, to do something around that, because again, this is B2B. So you have hotel interior design, and this is within your portfolio, which is cool. Then looking even more into that, you have residential interior design. This is also something that I would target as a query, even if there is like almost no search volume for that, because I'm guessing that in B2B, if Alicia is gonna get one person interested in residential interior design, this is worth quite a bit. But also with B2B, you have to expect lower search volumes, and this is something that Jaymon is probably gonna tell you a little bit more about. You know, when looking for B2B services, B2B products or B2B services, you have to expect that the traffic is gonna be fairly low. And take it from me, we do B2B as well as an agency, and some of our top keywords are the ones with 10 search queries per month. But if we land one client, you know, we're celebrating. So looking at that, you have so many different different queries, like residential interior design. There's no landing page for that. So I would focus on either B2B or not B2B. This sounded like a very poor joke right now.
To be fair, I think you hit the point exactly, because this site is relatively new, and to be fair, and I think you can feel it, I'm still discovering a little bit how it will go. So it started from the dream thing that it would be a B2B thing, but like Jaymon said before, it can as well transition. I don't know yet how the market will guide me as well, if it will become more B2C or B2B. So I am a bit in between. And this is exactly what I feel you are saying. So it can be that you sense it also from that side.
Yeah, and you need to find your niche. You need to own one tiny niche. So we do technical SEO, and we specialize in JavaScript SEO. We specialize in things that are not really that popular. We don't do everything, but we do few things. But if you search for JavaScript SEO, it's very difficult to not find our website. So if you continue into that, services are these are two of your crucial landing pages. So individual services and complete solutions, I have no idea what that is, and I'm guessing search engines will struggle with that as well. So looking into complete solutions, I love that you have all of the steps. I love that you have all of these. Actually, you have 2 and 2, and I just saw that right now. But I love that you have this laid out in a very cool way. But at the same time, this is your services page, so you should target a keyword here. Target something that's gonna be monetized. So I would go with either, again, just to summarize that, with either B2B or B2C.
Yep.
and make sure that you have a landing page for that, not a homepage. And this goes for all of the people in the webinar, because obviously homepage, just let's leave it for now. So looking at these, the three most important pages are services, which are also quite confusing. I'm sorry, I'm using a lot of monitors, and you can probably see I'm getting lost sometimes. But this is your very important landing page. So services and these two landing pages, they have to target something. And I can give you a very, Diana, how are we looking with time? 2 minutes, more or less. Okay, so I'm gonna give you a very short story about that. So my wife is a therapist, and we've built a very quick WordPress website, probably not amazing for my wife, and she was looking for queries. She was looking for online therapy, a lot of queries like that. But we started going through, we brew coffee, we spent a few hours, actually with my 10-year-old daughter, we started looking into queries that we can target, with just one article, just like that. And my wife wrote an article about ACT, so the form of therapy she's doing, values list. So the list of values. Just after publishing that article on a brand new website, she's getting like 20 visits per month from that one keyword. She's ranking top 3 according to Semrush. So I would do something like that. Find something with very low traffic, but something that's not really addressed properly. And then work your way up, because if you're gonna go after those, let's say, I don't want to say heavy, because after those dream keywords, you need to find something in between. So that's something to remember. I have quite a lot of other notes. So you've done, for a new website, you have a lot of backlinks. This is also something, so you have a lot of backlinks. I would make sure those are amazing. I didn't look into that, but I'm looking at you, Thomas. Just make sure that those are not somehow, against the guidelines. I wouldn't focus that much on performance. I saw some of your questions. I don't think this is the time when you have to worry about your website being the fastest in the community. I looked into some of the queries that I thought would be interesting, like hotel interior designs and things like that. Websites ranking for these in Cyprus were not amazing. I'm not going to use the other words. So most of your competitors are not that good. They're messy, they're chaotic. Take advantage of that. Start, work your way up with blog. You have some really cool portfolio projects, and focus on that. So sorry, I'm stopping my monologue. So if you have any questions, I think Diana is going to give us 1 minute.
No, I think we're out of time actually. But thank you. All the remarks were really useful, I think, and they are very on the point. I think you hit some specific points, and I feel the same way, even from the business owner perspective, not even the technical SEO person.
Yeah, we appreciate the feedback, Bartosz. Yeah, thanks.
One great little trick that I love, especially to use Semrush for when I was doing keyword research, is actually you can look for questions that people are Googling and create content around those questions. And they tie in exactly with what Bartosz was just saying, in that they're very specific and they address a certain need, and they're going to have lower search volume, but they're very, very helpful. And then you are the resource when someone is searching for that. And then that helps also to create a relationship too, because now you have, you're there when they need you, and you're not just there because they Googled interior design. You're there when they had this question, and there's a lot of strength in that. So gearing content to answer questions can also be a helpful way to, as a content strategy.
As a supportive content, I guess, right?
As a form of support content. Absolutely, yeah.
Perfect. We'll keep that in mind as well.
Yeah.
Just to final note on what Diana said, just as something something interesting I found throughout researching your domain. So for example, if you search for interior designer, not design, interior design, or residential interior designer rather than design, there are not too many queries with commercial value. So you would find jobs, you would find Indeed.com or freelancers, but there is nothing really commercial when looking for a residential interior designer or hotel interior designer. Those seem to be somehow neglected by your competitors, and I would really change that.
Good tip.
Yeah, interesting opportunity.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Very cool.
Thank you
That
so
was
much.
super interesting. Great tips. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to Ross.
Great. So I've got quite a few questions. I think I have 4 questions. I just wanted to know, are there any that you want to dive into first, or should I just ask away?
I'm opening my notes. So first of all, you mentioned that you have some brand-specific stores. This is not something I fully understood. So if you could walk me through that question, and maybe
so
ask this question again live so people know what we're talking about.
Yeah, great. So I think this is something very unique to our company. What we did in our early days of existence, my company pioneered e-commerce in our industry in South Africa. As you know, South Africa is a third world country. And what we did is we went to a lot of these suppliers. A lot of them are international suppliers. And we said to them, hey, we will build you a e-commerce store that looks like your brand. It looks like your company. But it services the South African customer. That was great for them because they got our expertise. Our sales people were behind the websites answering queries. And it was great for us because we got slightly better pricing from them, which is great. But now we've all grown up and we're realizing that what's happening is that we're actually competing with these brand dedicated stores. So let's say we have a brand called Bob's Drills. I just have to be careful what brands are mentioned here so I don't get into trouble. Let's say we have a brand called Bob's Drills and we've got a dedicated website for Bob's Drills, but then Bob's Drills is also on our website, Live Copper. What we realized is that we're actually competing in the search results. So what we're wanting to do is we're wanting to absorb those brand dedicated stores into our main website. They've served their purpose for us. So usually what we'd do is we'd notify on Google Search Console that we're moving the ownership from the one store to our main store. And then we'd put in a 301 redirect on a per product level if possible. I'm just wondering, over and above that, is there anything I need to do so we can pass that SEO value from the brand dedicated store to our main website?
Okay, so that's more or less how I understood that. So my notes are correct here. So, so basically, this is a fairly straightforward process. If possible, try to crawl all of those old, let's call them old and new. So old properties. Try to crawl them, so map all of the URLs that are within that property. I'm guessing is this a separate domain or is it a subdomain? How is it structured?
They're usually separate domains.
So make sure that you have a list of all of those URLs. Then 301 those to new places within your structure, and make sure that you think it through with the structure of the of live copper, so you don't create a lot of like duplication or cannibalization and so on. Then just the next step is just to ping all of those old URLs and see if there's just one hop between old and new, so we avoid the problem that we, for example, mentioned with Jamon, where the HTTP wasn't updated in the blog and creates like a lot of new URLs. So with that, I wouldn't really worry about losing that much traffic, especially that if you combine all of those tiny properties into one domain, it's gonna get stronger. You should expect overall traffic to actually grow compared to those tiny properties. This is something we did a few times with some of the enterprise clients, and usually the results are very, very good. So that's fairly straightforward. I have more notes. I can somehow share those notes with Diana after the webinar, so she can maybe share those with you, or I don't know. We'll work this out. But looking at your website, and I saw your question about the web performance. I have those written down quite a bit. I will share that with you because I didn't know how short this time is going to be when actually talking about these problems. But you have a few more questions that are actually quite interesting. And you had a question about products that are never searched, right? Like you mentioned that. So I'm guessing that within your niche, you have quite a lot of products that are not really that popular. But at the same time, if we're going to look at your website, it's not that huge. So what I found is around 10,000 URLs. Is that correct?
Yeah, it sounds about right. I think we have about 10,000 products.
Okay, so looking at those, I run a crawl of your website. So you have some, so we can hack this question and try to address it with the second question you had. So you have 10,000 URLs, but a lot of those are, and I'm trying to find an example, are canonicalized to other websites. I'm sorry, I'm just looking for my notes. So a lot of your, I'm sorry. So that's really awkward. Basically, you have some of the URLs with the medical in it as a category. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So and then all of those, I'll try to explain it as good as I can. So you have all of your products that are somehow within the medical category are canonicalized to URL with the product instead of medical. So the category in a canonical is product. I have this somewhere, but it's gonna take a while to find. So if we fix that, if we address this problem, if we get rid of this canonicalization internally, we get quite a lot of budget from Google's side to index more URLs. But also, just to address this question you had from a different angle, with 10,000 URLs, having products that are not really searched that often is not something I would worry about that much. So if this is like 20% of your products, or even something in this ballpark, this is okay. I'm guessing they are searched, I don't know, at least once per year, so I would still keep them for commercial value. But with 10,000 URLs, I wouldn't worry about that problem.
Okay, great.
At all.
So just a follow-up question on that, and I also asked the question about third-party scripts and stuff, but it's a follow-up question on that. How do you approach things like you mentioned the canonicalization? We're using Shopify, which is quite a big e-commerce. I mean, it's probably one of the biggest e-commerce CMSs out there, and they load a lot of third-party scripts that we have no control over. Like we can't stop that. There's nothing you can do about it. And with Google's Core Web Vitals update coming along, there's not much we can do to stop those third-party scripts from running. And then also you mentioned the canonicalization. I don't think there's much we can do to change the structure there because it's built on Shopify. So I'm just wondering, how do we even begin to approach something like that?
Okay, so going through your question, and I looked into your problems, and from what I remember, you have so long story short, your Core Web Vitals are not terrible. Your time to interactive could be improved quite a bit. And what I did looking through your website, you have quite a lot of your JS files are huge, and this is something that has to do with your team that you're using and apps that are used internally. This is something I couldn't see from obviously from not having access to your backend. But I went through Shopify's manual. This was my best idea, and what they do, actually can paste it in the chat. What this manual again explained here regarding those huge JS files is that you should go through all of the apps that you're not using. You should go through your team, and maybe there's something you can do with that. Sorry, like with Shopify, as you mentioned, it's quite difficult because your hands are tied, and I talked to Bartłomiej, our front-end guy at Onely, and he had so many different ideas because you have so much unused JS and CSS, mostly JS. But again, if this was a custom CMS, we could help you out with that. From what we found out through, looking from the outside, is go through your apps, through everything that you can to lessen that impact. I have a little bit more notes I can share with you, but it's really difficult for me to say without looking into how it's structured and maybe what we could disable or what we could work with.
Yeah, understood. Great. How much time do we have left, Diana?
And
1 minute.
we have one more question about links that we
Yeah.
can quickly go through. I looked into, so you ask if it's important to disable or request removal of links. So I wouldn't go and request removal of links anymore. This was something that we did quite a bit in like 2015, 16 maybe. Now I would just do a disable. I looked into your link profile. There are some links that I would worry about, but in your case, I don't think you're looking at the manual penalty anytime soon. We're always going through a disavow if possible, because we still have some clients struggling with massive manual penalties, but these are rather exceptions over the last few years. So Google is getting a little bit better with understanding those. But again, for onely.com, we have a disavow file. We keep updating it. You know, it's not really that much work for most websites if you're not like, you know, IKEA.com or Instagram.com.
Yeah, understood.
Whew.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you
that
so much.
was very interesting. I slacked off on the live chat because I just thought that was really interesting conundrums. There was a little laughter when you said that a 10,000 page website wasn't too large in the chat. So that was really cool, Ross. Thank you for sharing that. Those were great questions.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for the opportunity.
I'm sorry, just
Yeah, go
one
ahead.
more thing. I've pasted in the private chat here in StreamYard. I've pasted the Shopify's documentation about speed, because they are addressing that. If someone could paste it into YouTube as well. I'm worried that if I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna crash something in my Chrome again. Thanks so much, Kate. I think it was still quite. I'm not a huge fan of manuals, but this was quite interesting.
Great. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Very cool. And I mean,
Thank you so much,
Shopify,
Ross.
Shopify is such a common platform. It's good to deep dive into that I know it's going to help a lot of people. So great questions. All right. Arina, you are last but not least. So you're wrapping us up.
Okay, great. So I also forwarded some questions. I hope you could take a look at our website. So probably you can first give your opinion, and I will also have a few very short questions.
Amazing. So first of all, Irina, I love your niche. I was watching Gold Rush on Discovery a few years back, and now I feel like I know all of the products that you folks are selling on Dove Mining. So it's quite exciting to look at actually at a website selling gold mining equipment. And I looked into your questions because you had the problem that Irina is having. I'm gonna share my screen again to make it a little bit easier. That some of the pages rank well or keep ranking even though they're fairly old, and you have new pages and this is one of these pages. So just to clean this up. So this is one of the, I'm guessing the
old page.
This is the old page, but this is a portable wash plant for gold, right? So that's how you
actually
get
it's for gold, for diamond, for gold and diamond. This is one of our models, and actually this is the very first portable wash plant in mining history. We were the first to design it.
Nice. So one thing, so this is the old URL and it ranks for a ton of queries from what I saw. But the problem is for this one is actually fairly simple, because it's like both those old URLs are linked from your homepage. So this is one. Secondly, so these old URLs are linked from your homepage when your new URLs aren't. So this is
okay.
That's just the beginning. Then those have quite a lot of external links as well when new ones don't. But the most interesting aspect of that is that I looked into your structure. I looked into your categories and how your e-commerce is structured. And just to give you an example of how of my problem. So I looked into your products and services. So your probably main category, and it's divided in two main categories. So services and equipment. I went to equipment, and now I would expect this page to have way less categories. So looking at portable wash plants or portable gold wash plants and so on, this is creating straight off the bat a category portable wash plants. And then I would then subdivide them into gold, diamonds, and so on. Because if we look at, and we go into this portable wash plants, go deeper, this is that category page that links to the product page. And I found it very difficult to figure out what's a product page and what's a category page. And I'm gonna show you an example of pages that rank very well for the same query. So if you look at portable wash plants and this is a random page, random website that I googled. This is basically the same path. So if you go into products, they have portable, and then you look into, okay, what do you need? So you want a portable wash plant, and so on. So and then at the very end, for me, it's very difficult to see, okay, this is a product page. When looking at dovemining.com, it's fairly visible. I can see straight away that you folks are expert in what you're doing. Like there's so much knowledge all around the page, but it's extremely chaotic. So it's very difficult for me to see what's the structure of those of this e-commerce, because again, no breadcrumbs and
because it's actually not even e-commerce. We don't do e-commerce. We mostly post information about our equipment. All our equipment is customized. You only can contact us, and that will be precisely like unique combination for your mine according to the requirements that you have, according to the soil. Do you have gold, diamonds? Do you have combination, something else? So this is why we don't actually have product is as it's in understanding of e-commerce. So mostly it's like an article about our products.
But you do in a way, because if you look at your competitors, they also you cannot add it to the basket and they won't ship it to you. So it's a very similar process if you look at that, and they even get you to go through a ton of different data points. So I'm guessing Explorer and Superminer are two of your products.
Yes.
So looking at this category page, there are so many options here. There's so much knowledge that I feel a little bit overwhelmed with that. And obviously, I'm not going through your UX problems, but again, this is end of the day. This link here, as far as I understand, is the link that you don't want. This is the old URL, right?
Yes, it's not that we don't want it. We just wanted to understand what we should do with all these new pages, which we built, but we can see that it's not exactly working the same way as we expected. But we put a lot of efforts and here a lot of useful information. So probably we can move them or just rearrange content in something else. So which is the best way to deal with this, but not to waste it.
Yeah, so that's one. But also if we look at, I'm going to show you something real quick. Gold mining equipment. I'm actually wondering what kind of ads am I going to see after all this research today. I'm going to see gold mining ads, I'm sure. So if you look at this
and you can you can see all our equipment pictures.
So if you look at this query as well, you have a homepage ranking for gold mining equipment instead of some kind of proper landing page. Then if you look at, for example, you rank quite well for a quite interesting keyword, gold. washing plants, but you have no landing page for that. But you rank top 7 in the US for gold washing plants. So what I would do, and you don't really need, and I wouldn't go with like hiring a special SEO agency for that. What I noted to myself is you probably have quite a lot of, or maybe just one, but you have salespeople in at dovemining.com. I would talk to them what kind of process people go through when buying those machines, and try to structure your content within your domain, because it's clearly visible to me that you're experts and you're so passionate about what you do. But when I go to your website, I feel a little bit abused by the knowledge you're throwing at me straight up. So all of the pages, they have like thousands of words, literally thousands of words staring at you, but it's not structured. I could use a blog. I actually found some keywords for you. I can share those with you later on that you can address. But again, you have a lot of rankings. Your situation here, Irina, is a little bit different than, for example, Thomas's and Alicia's, because you have quite a lot of rankings that you, and you rank for tons of queries, but the landing pages, they don't always meet the intent. So I would try to understand, okay, if I'm looking for gold washing plants, what would be the best landing page? What would be the best place to address that intent within your structure? And then try to draw it in a tree structure. And this is something that actually is a problem for both Alicia's and Jamon's and yours. So try to, okay, homepage, category, subcategory, product, and make it so clear, as clear as possible, even if your CMS is not an e-commerce. But I want to know, and search engine will have no idea if this is a product within your structure or a category, because they look identical. I had to read quite a bit to figure out, okay, this is a product, this is a category. But yeah, I can go on and on because you got me excited with gold mining already. But sorry, do you have any questions yourself?
Yes, actually, I have a question. As you can see in our equipment page, we have some equipment, and the way we link it's from this page. Hello, can you hear me? Hello.
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
Yeah. It's some problem with mic, I guess. Yes. So from here you can see, you can click on this portable wash plant or whatever, and you can click on the title, on picture, on read more, and actually the link is to the column, not to the anchor text or something. And my question was, is it something wrong with it that we link it this way? Because the recent report from Semrush that I got shows that these pages, they like orphan, they don't link to anything. So probably this is not the best technical way. But our objective was that you can link any element and you still will go to this page.
I didn't see that when going through your page that those are all proper links. They are. So that wouldn't be my main concern. But again, having those as read more, like I would combine those categories, create one category, then a subcategory, then a product.
Okay.
And if possible, it would be amazing if this would be a clickable anchor text of portable wash plants. Obviously image can be clickable as well. I would get rid of read more. It's not really something you expect when clicking on a category in an e-commerce, but I would get it a little bit more of that e-commerce feel rather than a content website, I would assume, a feel.
Okay.
But those links are like from what I checked, those are proper links. So
this is not a problem, but read more is better to remove to make it look more.
And it would always be good to have this text being clickable with an anchor. I clicked on it by accident.
Yeah,
Anyhow,
yes, but it goes from the column as it's all. Yeah.
So yeah, so I would make sure that this is a link with an anchor text that you want, so portable wash plants, and then divide those portable wash plants into subcategories. And I would make sure, because you have so many features everywhere, I would make sure that this is structured in a way that you need to decide which piece of information is crucial at which stage. And I guess this is also going to help with both SEO, because then you're going to have a little bit more targeted content versus the intent and so on. But also export all of the keywords and rankings from Semrush, because you have so many. Just make sure.
Yes, we do.
But they go to pages that are not really a good fit very often. So this is something that you have a good problem in a way. You have rankings, but they have to be structured.
Okay, thank you.
That was
Thank you so much,
awesome.
Irina.
And Irina, thank you so much you just took me down memory lane. Myself, I worked with equipment OEMs for many, many years at the beginning of my career. And that website is pretty much what they look like. But if you want kind of a couple of examples of what Bartosz was just describing, I can send you some examples, because I'm still I'm still in touch with, the people that I met in my career, and I can send you some examples of some equipment OEM sites that have a little bit more of that e-com feel that he was describing, if you just want a visual example. So that was really cool. What an interesting conversation. And like Ross said, I feel like we all just had so much in common today. That was really fun, and some really great takeaways from everybody. Thank you all so much for spending an hour with us. I want to say thank you to Zemek in the live chat, who has been on fire in the live chat on YouTube. He is like amazing. And everyone is just asking him questions galore. It's really fun. That's why I'm like my head is like halfway over here, because I'm like watching the YouTube conversation. Yeah, so thank you for manning the chat there. Great conversations too. And you guys, Jamin, Thomas, Alicia, Ross, and Irina, thank you. You guys really nailed it today. Really great questions. Huge thank you to our special guest, Bartosz. Where can we find you, Bartosz? Where can we reach out? Where can we reach out to you and your team?
Onely.com. We were looking for a simple domain just for this reason, because my surname is so complicated. And thanks so much for all of you. And sorry for that being a little bit chaotic, but I was trying to digest as much as possible within this short time frame. Ross, I have a little bit more info on that, on those web performance questions. Probably not as specific as I would like, because again, Shopify, but I will send this document to all of you with some of the extra notes, some of the extra links, and thanks so much.
Oh,
I really had a lot of fun going through your websites. It's always exciting.
You're wonderful. You're so wonderful for giving them like takeaways, like tangible takeaways. Like, what a rock star move right there.
Thank you so much.
Also, be sure to follow us at Semrush on all social media platforms, because we announce these webinars and our other webinar series. We have our weekly Twitter chat and all sorts of ways that we can engage and continue the learning conversation. It's a terrific community to be a part of. Bartosz is there a lot. Yeah, that's a wrap for today, guys. So thank you again for being here, and we will see you really soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.